In this video, we're going to look at ways we can find and fix typos throughout our Viewlet project. Start by selecting the Edit menu, then select Preferences. In the Preferences dialog, choose the Spelling tab. In this tab is where you'll select options for working with your spell checker. For example, you can choose the dictionary that you want to work with, as well as some additional options. Once you make your selections for working with the spell checker, go ahead and click OK to apply them. The next thing you need to do is make sure your spell checker is enabled. So you can do this by selecting the View menu option and then looking at spelling mistakes. If there's not a check mark next to it, you need to select this option to enable your spell checker. And your spell checker, once enabled, will flag all typos with a red squiggly underline. As you can see here, in this particular message object, we actually have two instances of the same typo. So let's look at how we can quickly fix this. We're going to click inside the message object to get into text edit mode, and then we're going to right click on one of the typos. With that right click selection, we'll see a menu option that gives us selections for working with our spell checker. For example, this first option will allow us to replace the selected instance only with a suggestion from the list. But in this case, we have multiple instances of the same typo within the same message object. So for this example, we're going to use the second option to fix it, which will replace all instances of this particular typo within the same message object at the same time. We also have the ability to ignore any of the typos, as well as add any typos which may not actually be typos to the dictionary, which we'll do in just a minute. So let's choose the option to replace all with the suggestion correction here. And as you can see, it fixed both instances. This is great if you have a lot of text within the same message object. Then you may have multiple instances throughout that you can check and fix at the same time. Now, in our node object, you notice that we have here another flagged possible typo. However, in this case, it's not actually a typo. This particular abbreviation is for a type of image file that we're going to use again and again and again throughout this series of Viewlet projects. So we want to go ahead and not have our dictionary flag it as a possible typo or our spell checker to flag it. So we want to add it to our dictionary. To do this, again, we're going to go ahead and get into text edit mode inside this node object. Then we're going to go ahead and right click on the flagged typo, and this time we're going to go ahead and learn this particular word or abbreviation in this case and add it to our dictionary. Click that, and it's now added to our dictionary, so it'll no longer be flagged as a typo. Then we'll just go through our project and fix any other particular typos that we find flagged. We can right click, go down and select an option here, and so on. Now, there may be times too when you're going through your project and you know how to fix a word quicker than right-clicking on it and going to the dictionary, so you don't necessarily have to use the spell checker. Like in this case, I know the word is image and I know how to spell it, so I'll just click it and it's fixed manually, so I don't have to go ahead through the spell checker options as well. And you can go through and quickly check all of your message objects, and when you don't see the red squiggly line, you're good to go. Now, there is another feature that you can use, which is called search and replace. In this case, what we're going to do is use the search and replace tool to actually find a particular word, which in some cases could be a common typo that you might have that might be throughout several different slides in your project and various message objects, and replace it with a correction. But in this case, we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to go through our entire project here and take the word choose. See, it appears on several different slides here. And have our find and replace tool go ahead and swap it out with a more appropriate word. This may sometimes happen, and instead of doing this manually, I'm going to automate the process using the Viewlet Builder search and replace tool. So I'm going to search for the word choose throughout my project. You can also do this with phrases as well. And I want to replace it with the word select. You have additional options in here. You can play with this on your own when you go ahead and use this feature. And then I'm going to go ahead and say replace all. Okay, it'll tell me how many instances of it replaced. There were 3 of them. And let's just go ahead and do a quick check. You notice it did do it here. It replaced it here. as well as on the third one, and so on. So those are some of the features that you can use to work with to find and fix typos quickly, and also to search for and replace instances of maybe typos, words, and or phrases that you want to swap out and or fix throughout your entire project as well. That's all there is to it. If you have any questions on this particular topic or any others while working with Viewlet Builder or with any of Carbon's products and services, please visit us online at carbon.com. And thanks for stopping by.